culture needs to shift around mental health and how we speak about it, and speaking about it in general. Nowadays we're kind of gone good at talking about mental health, but we're still not comfortable enough to actually talk what's on our mind and actually what we're going through. We need a cultural shift on how we talk about it. We have to normalize it. Like I say, you have to create your own culture within your own circle, whether that's a circle of friends or your family, and make it normal about talking about what's on your mind and what's stressing you out. Because what happens is, if you don't, it builds up and then it comes out in destructive behaviour. And we see that a lot, and we see people going to drink and drugs and erratic behaviour or criminal behaviour, and a lot of that's down to repression of feelings. And unfortunately that's a big thing with men more. There's still sort of, that kind of, we talk about toxic masculinity. I, for one, would not say that masculinity as a whole is toxic, but I'd say there's toxic parts, and one of the most is that repression of your feelings, not expressing yourself. And any sort of therapist worth their weight in salt will tell you the most important thing is expression. So what I try to do is tell people not to repress, but to express. And it's like just emptying negativity and getting it out of you, and if you can do it with your friends, that's great. If you have to go to a therapist, that's another thing. But again, it's just about shifting the culture around and normalising these things. And I think if that happens and you have a cultural shift, you'll see a lot of changes in society, and hopefully one of them being the suicide rate going down, because we've a high enough suicide rate in Ireland, and then in general, then within the traveller population, it's the highest suicide rate per capita of any people in the world, I'm sure. One of them anyway. So one of the biggest reasons again is that repression and that thing of I need to be a man and I need to just conceal everything and put it down to a dark little place inside and tell no one about it, and it'll be grand. You really need to become aware of what's going on inside you, inside the well, and you have to resolve that, because if you don't, it's going to come out in a bad way, but also you're just never going to be your true self. We create a kind of personality and a blockade and a persona that we present to people, and it's down to low self-esteem, not dealing with our trauma, and 30, 40, 50 years go by and you never really become your true self. If you think somebody is suicidal, what we know is the best question you can ask them is, are you going to commit suicide? Right? Now that question was asked to me by my brother when I was going to commit suicide. And why that's the best question is, it's so straight to the point that even if they say no when they mean yes, they will give it to you in body language, okay? It's a way of them not having to admit it. So when I sat down with my brother, he asked me, are you going to commit suicide? And I said no, but everything in my fibre said yes. And my brother knew that. So he wouldn't allow me to get away from this conversation. And he basically broke down things that he thought was happening with me. And he told me you need purpose. And that's what we need. If you end up that low in life, it's because you've no purpose, no meaning, no passion. Therefore you lose hope. And if you lose hope, it's over. So you need to find that meaning, that's something that gives you meaning, that passion, that purpose. And that'll get you out of any hole. For me, it's creativity, and I think creativity saves so many lives. And I think it's like a prescription to anybody, whether you're going to go down a career of like a creative endeavor, or just you're doing any job. I think having a creative outlet is different, because you get to work that part of the brain that gives you a natural high, and the dopamine and serotonin rushes just like it would of drugs, but you don't have to come down. You know what I mean? So I think that's beautiful. And I think that's key for getting people out of it. Whenever I go through those moments, I pull back from technology, pull back from social media, connect more with nature, walks, sea swims, things like that, and it grounds you more. If you're struggling right now, imagine your friend or your family member, your brother, your sister, your mother or father, who you love with all your heart, is struggling. Imagine what it would feel like if you lost them through suicide. Now, thinking of it the other way, imagine what your family or friends are going to think of the people you love, what they're going to feel if they lose you. Reality is they're never going to get over it. My father committed suicide when I was 8. I'm still not over it. When I think I am, he comes back 5 years later, deal with it again. It's like a cycle. So what I would say is be brave enough to reach out and compassionate enough to reach out to someone you love because they don't want to lose you. They would much rather have that conversation, help and support you than lose you. So we have to realise that, because sometimes we get stuck in our own head and we go down this deep dark hole of depression. We don't realise people love us and they don't want to lose us, so you have to realise that you're not a burden to that person, that actually they want to help you. They really do,